Hi there, this is Jen, and thank you so much for joining me today. Today I am creating a card using the digital stamp set from Joy Clair Designs called Prized Life. And I went ahead and printed out a sheet of florals and a sheet of sentiments from the Prized Life collection, as well as other collections from the Joy Clair August release. And for this card, my original thought was that I would only use a portion of the flower on my card. As you can see, the floral piece, I sized it to make it big enough where it would cover the entire card almost. But I only wanted to use half of it, and so I went ahead and I drew a pencil line to know where to stop coloring. And I'm going to go ahead and color this flower with my Tombow markers. I printed this image on a piece of Bristol Smooth cardstock. And so I'm going to go ahead and color the center of the flower with these two different colors, and basically just taking a little bit of the color on each of those little outlined areas, and then taking my water and spreading it, and then just adding more color until I get it as dark as I want it. And then for the petals, I'm going to take the 451 and 452 in my Tombow markers. So I'll be putting the darkest color towards the center of the flower, and then I will take the lighter color and put that towards the outside or the end of the flower. And I'm just going to go ahead and do the same thing. I'm going to take my water brush and just push that color towards the end so it's almost white at the end, and then I do go in and add a little bit more color to try and create a little bit more depth with the flower. And then I'll go ahead and take some green Tombows and color the one leaf that I had printed out. I wanted to mention real quick that Joy Clair Designs has some fabulous Gina Marie slimline dies in the shop, but they do go very quickly. So if you're interested in those, the price point's about $16, which is awesome for a slimline dies. If you have looked around, you know how expensive those can be. So I just wanted to go ahead and throw that out there in case you have been looking for those or are interested in trying out some slimline dies. And so after I color up the leaf for this flower, I am using a Ranger Embossing pen. So I am using a fine pen for the more of the detail on the flower petals, and then I'm using this one, which is a medium size, to do the thicker areas. And so I'm just tracing out over that black outline from when I printed it, and then spreading the embossing powder on the flower, and then I will cut it. So I cut it, and here I am trying to figure out how I want to put my image on the paper, and I just didn't end up liking it with just the one portion that I colored. And so I tried several different things and just finally decided that I would color the rest of the image. So I went ahead and colored the rest of that image off the camera, and then I will figure out how I'm going to lay that out. I am taking this piece of hammer reel paper, and I'm going to run that through embossing folder. I used I believe a B00 in my Copic Chow marker, and I colored one side of it and then ran the embossing folder, put it in my embossing folder and ran it through my Big Shot. And I actually ended up liking the texture on the other side a little bit more. I never know how to put my paper in on the right side of the embossing folder. And then when I did that, I went ahead and took a Copic Chow B000, so it's a little bit lighter. And it might be kind of hard to tell on the shots, but the little areas of that embossing folder that poke through are it's kind of like a little notepad design, I guess. And then I'm just trimming off a little bit of the extra white space that I did not get when I originally cut that off. I ran this through my scan and cut, so there was a little bit of a border, and I didn't end up liking that, so I thought it looked better without that white border, so I went ahead and trimmed that off. So as you can see, I went ahead and I adhered the flower completely to the right side. The left side, which is the bigger portion of the flower, I put adhesive mainly probably about 3/4 of it from the left-hand side, and I just left a little bit so that I could pop up some of those flowers, flower petals with some foam dots. And so that's what I'm doing right here. I used one for the leaf, and then I'm going to go ahead and grab some of the foam dots and pop up in several different places so it's a little bit raised up from that other flower. I did not want the whole portion of the flower popped up, so that's why I am just popping up a portion of it, and the other is adhered with my tape runner. So I'll just go ahead and add those, and then add the sentiment. I did end up downsizing on the sentiment. I had printed out a larger sentiment that was the same, and then the smaller one, so I just matted it on a piece of black cardstock. I also added some white Nuvo drops, and that will finish off this card. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did like it or find it informative, please go ahead and give a thumbs up. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time.